One of the most common questions I get is, should I pre-rinse my vehicle's paintwork before I foam on my soap? And that's a loaded question with not an exactly black and white answer. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you a side-by-side comparison of a panel that one side of the panel was rinsed first, the other side did not get rinsed and just got foamed first. And I'll show you directly side by side the difference in cleanliness between those two panels. I'll also talk about the products that I personally like to use and in which situation. And then finally, we'll talk about in which circumstances that I actually prefer to rinse before foaming or foam before rinsing. So let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, so to start off, I have a very filthy Kia Telluride at my house here. This is actually my wife's old car. We haven't gotten rid of it yet. It's been sitting kind of on the sideline and it's very dirty. So I'm gonna give you a quick little walk around, show you the surface and show you how dirty it is. I'm going to be treating the hood, and then I'm also gonna be treating the rear hatch. Why am I doing that? I wanted to just give a good comparison of a flat surface versus a vertical surface, because there is a difference there, right? The flat surfaces, more things have more time to sit and dwell and kind of bake in there, versus a vertical surface tends to stay a little bit cleaner. So as you can see, as we're walking around this car, it is very dirty. So we're gonna go ahead and start off on the hood of this vehicle, and I'm going to just take my pressure washer. I have a little angled extension on it so I can get a nice direct line. And I'm going to rinse one side of the hood, just one side, half of the hood, to get that thing rinsed off. And then we're going to right away add some foam and go into foaming the whole surface down. In this case, I'm actually using Kokemi Active Foam. This is a slightly higher pH foaming soap, really good at breaking down contaminants and kind of just working a little bit more than a pH neutral soap to break stuff down. So that's what I'm using in this case. Now from there, we're gonna go ahead and let that dwell on the paint now. I'm gonna let it dwell as long as I can before it dries out. Now I'm gonna go over to the back end of the car and do the exact same thing. We're gonna rinse half of it. I do apologize, my spray pattern got a little bit, it did push some water over to the side that I did not want to pre-rinse, but it'll still give us a good representation. So rinsed one side, let that sit, and then we foamed on the entire panel. So again, one side has a pre-rinse, the other side, no pre-rinse. Now, while the foam is dwelling on the paintwork, let's go ahead and talk really quickly about why so many people recommend foaming the car before rinsing it down. The number one thing is there's a lot of surfactants, there's a lot of cleaning ability in the soap, right? Especially with the higher pH soap, there's even more cleaning ability to it. But those surfactants are built out so that they can attack the dirt and grime and everything on your car, start breaking it down, start lifting it up and separating it so that you can rinse it away. When you pre-rinse the vehicle, what that's doing is adding more water onto the surface. So when you do foam it, you're actually diluting that foam down even more than you would have originally just, by using a foam cannon. Now, does that actually transfer into real world situations? Because the logic behind it definitely makes sense. But let's go ahead and look at the hood of the Kia Telluride now. The foam is still on there, it's been dwelling. If you look at the side that has been pre-rinsed, just looking through the foam onto the painted surface, that side right now looks cleaner to me. When we go over to the side that wasn't pre-rinsed and just foam went directly onto it, it looks like there's a lot more dirt sitting on there. Now the reasoning behind that is that foam has taken all that dirt that was still on the surface because we didn't pre-rinse anything away, right? And it's kind of, the foam is bubbling and kind of breaking stuff down, absorbing into that dirt, lifting it up so that when you rinse it away, it rinses away nicer. Also, again, like I said, with the higher pH, all that kind of stuff, it's going to break down all the surface contaminants so they are able to be rinsed away versus other ones that will just stay stuck onto the car. So to prove that, let's go ahead and rinse away the foam on the vehicle. We're gonna rinse both the hood and the rear hatch area, and then we're gonna go ahead and dry it. We're just gonna air dry. I am using deionized spot-free water for this process here, guys. So keep that in mind. I will take an air dryer to it and just try and help dry it off a little bit quicker. But this vehicle has not been ceramic coated, and it has been sitting out out on our property for a little bit. So it's quite dirty. There's not a lot of water movement on this thing at all. So we're gonna have to let it air dry. Now, once that's done for the hood and the rear hatch, we're gonna pull it out into the sun and we're gonna inspect it closer up. All right, guys, so remember, this was zero touch, right? This was literally, that side got rinsed, this side did not. Foamed on, let it dwell, rinsed it away, air dried, did not touch it at all. What is that? Spider. So this side's looking pretty good. A couple little things left over in this little channel here that I just didn't get close, didn't rinse well enough, targeted at those spots. On the side where we did rinse first, there's a lot more stuff that is still stuck onto the paint. So meaning the reason for using a pre-wash is to break down. The foam sits on there. Again, as we were going over this thing, I foamed it on. This side, initially, while the foam was kind of sheeting away, this side, the paint was looking cleaner to me. This one had a lot of dissolved, just kind of dirt and stuff in it, but that was because the soap, the foam was kind of popping and bubbling away, right? Breaking all that stuff down, bringing it to the surface, and then laying it on there so that it rinsed away properly. Again, that is why this side rinsed away better than this side. If you look close, I don't know if you guys are gonna be able to see this. I apologize, let me try and zoom out. If you can see right there, there's a line down the middle. This side definitely has more buildup on it than this side, for sure. I mean, it's not crazy difference, but again, the side that was pre-rinsed is a little bit dirtier. Let's go to the back. And on this thing, this side was pre-rinsed, this side was not. So, you know, this one's a straight up and down surface. Again, no touching at all on this. And you guys remember how dirty this thing was. I'm not seeing a lot of difference, to be perfectly honest, back here. Let's see about on the glass. The glass is definitely still dirty over here. Definitely needs to be mechanically washed. And then, yeah, same across the board there. Yeah, perfectly honest, I don't see a lot of difference here between these two sides at all, really. So, but again, it's a vertical surface, right? So stuff actually runs off better versus the hood where stuff sits on directly. And again, the pre-wash side, the side that we foamed on without pre-rinsing the water first, is cleaner than the side where we rinsed off first. All right, guys, so there you go. In this case, again, this car was pretty dirty, right? All the dirt on there was pretty loaded on and pretty stuck on. In cases where it's even dirtier, I definitely will pre-foam, and I'll use something like active foam from Kokemi. This is actually my go-to when I want to do like a heavier prep cleaning and then rinsing it away. Active foam is a 9.5 on the pH scale, and neutral is usually around 7 or so. So this one does have a little more cleaning ability and surfactants to kind of break all that stuff down. Kokemi also has super foam, which is a 12 pH, I believe. For me personally, for some odd reason, whatever contaminants are in the air, road grime and things like that in Southern California, for me personally, I've found that active foam actually works better for me. Active foam has always been available in a 5-liter size, and they just recently released it in a 1-liter size. So very, very exciting there. I'll link all the stuff down in the description for you here, for you guys, so you can get this. Also, active foam is probably the best smelling soap that I've ever used, other than they also have their pH neutral version, which is gentle snow foam. That smells good, but they had a Christmas edition, which is GFX, and that stuff smelled unbelievable. But that was a limited edition run. It's gone now. This stuff is my #1 smelling soap. Now, with that said, guys, the surface of the vehicle looks way better, but it does still need to have a contact wash. And that's in a case where on vehicles that aren't excessively dirty, I won't always do that step. There's a few reasons for it, and one of them being it's an excessive amount of water. You foam it on, you let that dwell, you rinse it away. Then I'll go in and foam it on again, do my contact wash, have a wash bucket if I'm gonna be doing that, agitate everything, and then rinse that away. So you're kind of doubling the process there. As a mobile detailer, that doesn't always make sense for me. I have a limited amount of water that I carry in a tank for me, with me. Also, water runoff is a concern for me as a business owner. We do collect our water, but if we're using that much, it's hard to collect all of it. So that's one of the reasons I don't always do that, but on excessively dirty vehicles, I do, and active foam is my go-to. On the other hand, if the car isn't that bad, I will, a lot of times, just pre-rinse, right? Just do a quick pre-rinse, and then go straight in with something like Geon Bathe. This is just a super, super high lubricating. For me, personally, I just feel like it has more lubrication, and I really like how slick it is. So I'll use that, foam that onto the car, go in for a contact wash, and then rinse that away. So again, just quick rinse, foam on, agitate, rinse again. I'm always doing polishing and things like that after as well, so that's my process on that. So again, those are the two products that I personally use most of the time. I still use Gentle Snow Foam from Kokemi a ton as well. I absolutely love that product as well. And again, if the car is not as dirty, but I still want to do a light pre-rinse, and there is a little more lubrication to that one too, so I can go in right away. But if I want the most, slick feeling, Geon Bathe I really, really enjoy. So, but Kokemi Active Foam, my favorite pre-wash for sure, coming in at a 9.5 on the pH scale. Again, for me, just works better than even higher pH soaps. I love it. And then for the foam cannons, these are my two favorites, the MJJCs. This is either the S V3 or the Pro V2. Both of them basically have the same head unit, so you're getting the same foam production. This is just the most updated bottle, has a really cool quick turn connection point. However, when you have a clear bottle like this, if you drop them, they can damage earlier than others. Even like, these ones are actually pretty good, but even with bottles, sometimes you'll get a clear bottle, and if you drop that, you'll see like a little crack starting to show on the bottom versus like a natural color. They just seem to be a little more durable than the clear ones, just in my personal opinion. Now let's go ahead and really talk about when I will not foam on first. And we talked about that a little bit, right? If the car's not excessively dirty, I'll just pre-rinse, foam, agitate, rinse away. Or if I'm out working mobile and again, water is a concern, then that's also something that I want to be really cognizant of. But another reason where I will not foam before rinsing, and I'll actually rinse the vehicle first, is again, as a mobile detailer, or if you're working on your vehicle at home and you're doing it in the driveway, it's a hot day. Either one, you're working in direct sunlight, foaming the vehicle first is going to, it's not gonna get the same amount of dwell time as it would if you were in the shade, right? It's gonna wanna start drying out, so you're not getting the full benefit of it actually dwelling and breaking things down. Or if the vehicle is out in the sun and the paintwork is hot to the touch, I will definitely pre-rinse first to try and cool that panel down a little bit and then foam on. Yes, I'm still going to lose a little bit of the effectiveness. Why do I lose some of the effectiveness? And it's basically because when you pre-rinse the vehicle and then foam, you're actually diluting the product down even more, right? So you add your mixture to your foam cannon, water comes through that, it's a specific dilution ratio. Sometimes they call it the panel impact ratio is the calculation. And although this is a 9.5 or even the 12 pH items, once they come through that whole system, they drop down. They're not as high typically, and then by the time they're rinsing off, they're basically neutral. But again, when you're rinsing it down, you're diluting that surface. The surfactants and all the cleaning ability of the soap isn't able to penetrate directly into the dirt because it was rinsed and there's more water diluting that surface, that contact area. So that is a concern. You're not gonna get as effective out of this. So just practice safe car wash techniques, right? They always, rule number one is out of direct sunlight, right? Try and do it in a shaded area and not on a hot panel. Especially, guys, especially if it's a black vehicle or a dark color. So that's it for today's video, guys. I just wanted to clear that up. I get asked that question all the time. And yes, especially when you're using a pre-foaming soap where you want to help loosen everything up and rinse it away, do it directly onto the panel without rinsing the vehicle first. That way the soap can be its most effective on the panel. Again, if you're in direct sunlight or the panel's hot, I would still personally just pre-rinse. You're gonna lose some of the effectiveness, but it's still better than having to deal with the soap drying onto the paint. And again, if the car's not that bad, I will just do a simple pre-rinse first. I will foam the car, take my wash bucket, go in and agitate. The reason people ask me about that, say, whoa, shouldn't you have rinsed away the foam before you go in for a contact wash? And the reasoning behind that is I've been doing this for almost 20 years. When I got trained just about 20 years ago, our method was rinse the car, then you have your wash bucket, the car has been rinsed, you take your wash bucket, you do your contact wash, you rinse it away. So when we're doing this now, we rinse the vehicle, we foam it on, and then go into our wash bucket and go on. We're getting the added benefit of the lubrication from the wash bucket as well as the foam soap on the surface. So it just kind of creates a nice lubricated surface all the way over the car. So I like doing it that way as well. But that's it for today's video, guys. I hope that really helps you. Please make sure to like the video, make sure you're subscribed, turn on that notification bell, and we will see you on the next one.